So we are 2 days away from having carpets in, and by 2 days I mean we've literally got the rest of this evening. It's already 6:30, nope, nearly 7 o'clock. And yeah, we've got tomorrow evening to hopefully get the rest of the walls sanded. At the moment, about half of the walls in here have been sanded by my parents. Mum and Bernie have been helping. Bernie was in here today sanding off all of the walls. Yesterday, Mum was in our bedroom sanding walls, and then we think we can get away with not actually filling the walls in the other bedroom, which will hopefully save a lot of time. So we did sort of test a bit, and it did sand down quite nicely. That's going to be sort of the test room, because I think we're taking off all the peel, so that's basically going to put on the walls. Hopefully it'll all be okay, although I do think we need to check in there, just make sure there's no actual, what's the underneath layer of the board called? You know, like the papery bit? Okay. Like there's some of that in there, and I'm not convinced that should be painted straight over, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so Jack and I both got electric sanders now. We've got the one that Bernie brought over, and then I've brought a nice shiny new one, which is why I'm so late starting today. But it's really speeding up the sanding process. So hopefully that means we can get the rest of this room sanded. Then I'm going to be miscoating the ceilings and potentially the walls, but at the moment priority is ceilings. So yeah, we're going to get cracking. It's already very dusty and disgusting. Like even poor Henry needs a hoover. But yeah, let's get cracking. So I have got a mask, even though this one does have a bag, but Jack's one doesn't. So it's going to be sending dust everywhere. I think I need to turn the speed down on this one because that was taking off the paint, whereas it wasn't to begin with.
Maybe you're spending too long on the spot then.
Maybe. But it's quite big, so I can't really... better. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It was definitely on too fast before because it's not taking it off now. Right guys, the whole room is sanded, including the ceiling. So my next mission is mist coating. Might start the walls, depends. Jack's currently, he might be able to hear chiseling away around the edge where the plaster got a bit on the architrave in the other room. So that is the next ceiling I'll be mist coating. It's really quite good. Yeah, it's quite good in comparison to all of our other ceilings, like there's not going to be much sanding at all. So, but he does need to chisel the edges. The edges are like this bit here at the top where the plaster meets the architrave. There's quite a lot on there, so he's just chiseling away. And then there's a couple of small gaps that we'll just need to fill around the edge where we didn't quite get to the edge. But yeah, this room's looking real good now. I'm gonna wipe the walls down, quickly wipe the ceiling again because there was just dust everywhere. And we want to make sure the mist coat sticks properly. You can see my hair's kind of changed colour from all the dust in here. I've just changed Henry's Hoover bag, so I'm gonna start off by hoovering the floor, I think, and then wiping all the walls down. Right, we have had an ever so slight change of plan. Basically, the ceiling in here is really good, so it's not going to need much sanding, but I'm just going to go over with a really, really fine grit, 240 grit sanding pad thing on the orbital sander. Just make sure there's no ridges, and if like there's anything that does need filling, it's not much, but I'd rather do it now so that tomorrow it can just be lightly sanded over and I can mist coat in there and in here. So that room is now completely ready. Ceiling has been wiped down. Walls haven't been wiped down, but that's fine. Like that, we'll do that before the carpets go in. But worst case, if I don't get to painting the walls, that's not a problem. But then tomorrow, this room should be ready. Hopefully, Bernie and Jack will be. Well, Jack's got a half day tomorrow, so he'll be working in the other room. He's gonna have to go around the edge first because this bit is now looking really good in here. Jack's gone around and chipped all of that off and sanded it down. But that has not been done in the other room yet, and that bit does take a while. So yeah, they're gonna have to go do that. And then also the walls in there aren't quite filled in everywhere that they need to be, but worst case scenario again, like if that doesn't get done, it's fine. But preferably it does get done, because I don't really want to be doing any sort of sanding as soon as the new carpets are down, because it just is messy and it gets everywhere. So, and it'd be nice to finally have a house that isn't covered in dust and stuff from the ceilings and the walls. But yeah, time to get sanding. Oh, and yeah, Jack's just swapped places with me basically. So I'm gonna start sanding the ceiling in here. He's just gone for his dinner, and then he'll get started in the other room whilst I'm sanding the ceiling in here. So guys, it's Friday. This was the big day. The carpets are officially in. So yeah, we're really happy with how they look. Really glad. We didn't get obviously everything done, like the walls are not painted. So we are going to have to be very careful when we are repainting. I think the ceiling in here might need another coat. You can just see a couple spots sort of there that this is still showing through, but still really happy that we've got at least a coat done in my office. That's going to speed it up when we do come to painting it. Also got absolute bargain set of curtains, 24 quid down from 40 because they were returned to the store and they were online only curtains, and I think they're going to work really nicely with the blush pink in here, so fingers crossed that looks good. Got my brother staying here tomorrow night because we're going on a night out for Ollie's birthday, so everyone say happy 30th birthday to Ollie. You will have seen him in a few videos, but yeah, very, very happy to finally have carpets in. The only thing that I really focused on in the end, because we just didn't have enough time to do everything, Mum and Will got the sort of first couple coats on the ceiling of paint, so that's one of the main things that I wanted to get done. Do need another coat, but I just ran out of time. Literally was up till midnight last night sorting out in this room, like painting all the skirting boards and everything. And yeah, just didn't have the time to do any more. This will be our bedroom. We've also got Josh staying over this weekend. So yeah, it's just, he's going to be the first person staying in our bedroom, which is a funny thing to think about. But because we aren't moving straight upstairs yet, and we're going to be doing the rooms a bit more slowly now, because we just don't have the big rush that we had before to get everything done. We decided to prioritise getting curtains for our bedroom and for my office, so that those will be the first two rooms that we get fully finished. But yeah, the actual quality of the carpet is so cozy. This is nice and soft. You can actually see like the massive difference in the thickness of the carpets. Like this is about 1 centimetre higher than the other carpet, so we will also have to trim all the doors. All the doors are currently just chilling here, which is a little bit annoying because obviously we've got people staying, so it would have been nice if they could shut the door, but it is what it is. They're just going to have to deal with it, unfortunately. But yeah, these are looking real nice. These are my jalapeno plants. They do need to probably, don't think they're ready to go outside yet, but they probably need bigger pots. I did just have a look at all my plants outside and they're all doing really well. The lettuce is looking real good. But again, there's too many in there, so I think we're going to have to start eating a few leaves here and there just to sort of clear them down a bit. And the tomatoes are in absolute dire need of being repotted. So hopefully now that, you know, we haven't got quite the mad rush that we did before, I've got actually time to go outside. Probably tomorrow morning I'll try and do those. Maybe not tomorrow morning because I need a bit of lime, but at some point tomorrow, hopefully before we set off for the evening, we will get those potted up and in the next homes. They probably won't be their final pots because I don't have any big pots for them, but they definitely need to be out of the ceiling tray. Like the poor things have been sat in there for absolutely days and days and days. So yeah, they really need to get out of there. Also just want to say a big shout out to my parents and Will, who spent hours here this week helping us with getting everything ready because I was mega stressed. Like honestly, I've yeah, just panicking. Like, Jack did not want to push the carpets back, which is fair enough because, you know, I also want to get upstairs. We're living downstairs and everything's just a bit tight down there at the moment. So I did understand the drive to get things done, but I was like, should we just push them back so we got a bit more time? But yeah, if we hadn't got, you know, all the skirting boards done and stuff, like that would have been a massive nightmare because just how thick this carpet is. We wouldn't have been able to like tuck it under the skirting or anything. I mean, there's not really much of a gap in the bottom of the skirting anyway, so I don't think realistically that would have been possible. So yeah, like Bernie as well, who really suffers from like dust and like powdery stuff, was sanding and he was completely covered in it. And yeah, couldn't have done it without them. Oh, and you'll know that even though I haven't been able to do as much filming because, you know, we've just been rushing around like mad people, Will has managed to do a little bit of filming. So here's a few clips of what him and Mum got up to whilst I was at college.
Right, as you can see, Chloe, bit painty, but wow, first coat done. Yes, very good, very good. Mum's doing the edges. Thanks for the help, Chloe. Here's your painting samples or whatever they are. I don't know. Okay, cool. But yes, no, it should be a good little thingy here. God, I'm shattered. Look at my hands. And also, sorry about your floor. Whoops.
So guys, it's Monday. I always start so guys, I don't know why, but anyway, it's Monday. And yeah, today is just going to be a bit of an odd job day. Sort of catching up on the stuff we didn't really have time for last week. Like just general life stuff, washing up, all that sort of fun stuff. So that's mostly what I'm going to be doing today, as well as some like admin-y bits, because we haven't changed addresses for some things, which we definitely need to. So I'm going to be doing that later. But I just wanted to quickly show my jalapeños, which are doing amazing. Despite the fact that they have some of the stuff that we sanded off on the leaves, they're still looking really good. So these were all grown from seed. And yeah, they're all looking really healthy except from this one, which has a bit of a split, and it's the same with one of my tomatoes downstairs. I'm not sure if that was from them getting too hot and then not having enough water at some points. I think all of the rest of them are okay. This one I think I might just not have planted quite straight, so I think that's why it's got a bit of a weird bump at the bottom. Same with that one, I don't think I planted that deep enough, so. But yeah, they're all looking pretty good. They do probably need to be potted up in the not too distant future. Same with a lot of my stuff. And then outside I still have the tomatoes that I said about a month ago need to be in their own pots by now because they're still in the seedling tray. They are a lot bigger than the jalapeños, but yeah, they desperately need to be potted out. So I'm gonna go do that now whilst the sun's nice. Also, I feel like I look really tired today, and that's probably because I feel really tired, but yeah, the mad rush is over now, so I can sort of take it a bit easier this week and just get bits done here and there. Got to wait for the carpet protector sticky sort of like cling film, but you stick it to the carpet to protect it. Is coming later in this week, so we can't actually do anything upstairs until that's hit anyway, really, because we just don't want to risk getting any paint or nasty stuff on the carpet, which is brand new. So that means upstairs is halted for a few more days, and then yeah, once that's here, it'll be straight back into sort of painting and sanding. There's only one more room to sand. All the rest of the rooms are ready to paint. The ceiling in the last room is done, I believe. I think it's literally just the walls that need sanding, so still a big job, but it's not as intense as doing the ceiling. And doing the ceiling is just so annoying because it makes your arm ache holding up the sander for that long. So yeah, hopefully that won't be too bad when we get around to that. But yeah, despite the fact that last week was knackering, on Friday I actually had a Tesco's delivery. The guy asked me if my parents were home, and I was like, I own this house, how old do you think I am? And yeah, he didn't answer that question, but you know, I feel like I look about 10 years older after this week, but maybe not. Also, the only surviving cucumber plant is doing really well. Got some amazing roots coming in, so I think it won't be long until this can go outside. Just want to wait until it's a bit warmer in the evening so that this one doesn't die too after going through the effort of trying to rescue it. Oh no, it's gonna fall out. Don't fall out. You've only just repaired yourself. Right. So yeah, that's doing really well. I mean, look at the size of those roots. It did take ages for them to actually appear, but when they did, they just suddenly went boom. Even got like a little baby cucumber on here, but probably be taking that off at some point, so it can focus on actually continuing to grow. And then May's going to be an exciting month. I've got some more seeds which are going to be planted out in May, but I'm not going to be bothering to put them in seed trays. They're just going to be going straight outside. According to this, all the seeds that I picked up, you can plant them straight outside, so that's what I'll be doing. I mean, this one says outdoors March to September, but I think I was just going to be like, May is the time to do those. So that's spring onions. Got some more cucumbers to replace all the ones that died. Again, these are going straight outside, and hopefully because they'll be straight outside, they won't be too worried about the temperature in the same way like they have been. Because at the moment it's quite warm some nights, but other nights are like nearly frost temperatures, so yeah, it's not worth risking them again. And then finally broccoli, because I thought that would be a good one to try. Never grown broccoli before. I mean, I've never grown spring onions before, but you know, I've had cucumbers. I don't think I've grown cucumbers, but you know, like my parents or someone has had cucumbers before. Did not realise how fussy they were. Actually I did, because I watched a few videos on TikTok and YouTube, but yeah, I was not expecting them all to die. It was unfortunate because I didn't want to put them straight outside. It's just we had no space in the house whatsoever, and nowhere to put the greenhouse at the moment. The greenhouse will be going up at some point. That is probably another thing we'll be looking at doing this week whilst we're sort of chilling a bit more. I say chilling, we're not going to be stopping at all. We're just going to be doing, I want to say less labour intensive stuff, but I don't think it's going to be less labour intensive if we're starting to look at the garden. But it would also be nice to make the most of the nice weather, because the last couple of weeks I've had some really gorgeous days, and every single day we've been just inside, which has been a little bit soul destroying, but you know, we got there in the end. So here are the tomato plants. They are not looking the best, and you can see how dry the soil is just because they have massively outgrown that seedling tray. Christine very kindly bought me these lovely little pots from, I think it was Home Bargains. So 2 of my tomatoes are going in here, and then the rest of them are going in these much larger pots, which they should be much happier in. They won't be the final home, but they should do for a while. Lettuce is looking really healthy here, very overcrowded, but it's all looking nice and green. And then
Here are my lovely fruit trees. Got a Braeburn apple tree, which is a few years old. Christine's been keeping it in the garden for a few years. And then the other ones are Victoria plum. This one at the back is a pear tree, I can't remember which type of pear. And finally the cherry tree, which I'm very excited for. And then I don't think these have made it into the video. These are short autumn bliss raspberry canes. And then these two ones at the back are Glen amples, so that should mean that we've got raspberries for a decent period of time. And then this is my lovely olive tree. It's looking a little bit worse for wear. It did take me a little while to figure out how to water it properly. Basically I was just giving it a light surface water, but actually olive trees prefer a deep watering infrequently, so I was not doing it right. I was just watering the surface of the pot, so basically it wasn't probably getting anywhere near enough water. Figured it out now and it's looking a lot greener. And the final thing that made it over recently is the strawberry tower. These were bare root strawberries, and I believe they're everberries. They've got quite a long growth period. Unfortunately one has wilted away, not sure why. Maybe it wasn't quite big enough to be planted separately. Now you might be wondering why these pots aren't very full, and the reason is because I'm a bit worried about the amount of soil I have and if I'm going to have enough to pot all of the other plants, so thought I'd start low and I can always add more if I need to. You might be able to tell getting these guys out of the pot was a little bit of a challenge. They are just so closely put together, and even though the soil's dry, you'd think it would just pop out, but no, they're well rooted in there. This bag of plaster is basically the leftover plaster we just dumped into one of the empty bags, and it's joining the other bag of also dead plaster, but that was just sat there for way too long, so thought I'd move it around and actually make some space for the tomatoes. You might also be wondering why I'm not actually using the grow bags as they are intended, and it's because I've previously tried grow bags and I don't think they're the best solutions. I just don't really think I wanted loads of these across my patio as well, to be honest. So and also moving them around, obviously the things in my garden at the moment are very much not in their permanent positions, so it would have just been a pain to try and move fully grown tomato plants in these bags around. And we've also got a massive problem with wood lice and ants and stuff, so they would have probably made a home underneath here. and it just would have been a bit of a pain to work with, so figured actually putting them into pots would be better. They've also got a bit deeper of a pot to grow some good roots, and yeah, just thought this was the best solution. But actually the grow bags were quite cheap, which is why I ended up getting some grow bags for soil instead of a normal bag of soil. So I've also ended up with this weird mutant. It must just not have grown right because it has no proper leaves, it just has this weird one big leaf that's come up and no proper stem, so I thought I'd plant it and just see if it did anything different. Look at the roots on these though, they were so in need of a proper pot, they were just desperately looking for room to grow. And then I also miscalculated on the number of pots I needed, just didn't count the tomatoes properly. So I thought I'd reuse the dead cucumber pot. Already has some good soil in there. Hasn't really had much of the nutrients taken out because the cucumbers died pretty quickly when they went outside, which was a massive shame, but no point putting the soil to waste. As I pulled out this tomato, I realised it had a bit of a scar from where this had previously split on the stem, again probably from the intense heat when it was on the windowsills and then just not always having enough water, especially as they got bigger and they were drying out a lot quicker. But it seems to have healed up pretty nicely, and hopefully this tomato will go on to produce lots of lovely tomatoes. Looking back, if I was going to do one thing differently here, it would have been at this point to take off some of the lower leaves. I think I left the lower leaves on for way too long, and recently I've had to cut a load off because they're all going yellow and just not looking too healthy. But I think that's partly because I keep missing with the watering, like it's just so easy to catch the lower leaves with water and you're not really meant to water the leaves at all. So yeah, I would prune those off a bit earlier. Also means that there's more nutrients going to the rest of the plant then. There's sort of the argument that I guess there's less leaves to photosynthesize and do their thing, but to be honest the lower leaves don't really get as much light anyway, so realistically they're not doing a whole lot down there. Better to get rid of them sooner. But you grow and learn. I was really surprised to have any soil left at the end of all this potting, because even though these pots aren't the biggest, there was quite a lot of them, so I was probably a bit conservative, particularly with the big pots, but it was good to have some left over. I mean, I've got lots more potting to do in the future, so the more I can save now, the less I have to spend later. And if any of them need topping up at some point, then, you know, I've got some fresh soil that can add a bit more nutrients whenever they need them. And I'll be keeping all of these seed trays for next year. They did a really, really good job for propagating the stuff, and they fit really nicely on the windowsill, so They're not cleaned at the moment, but at some point I will clean these up and put them away for next year. Or use them for the other seeds that I've got to grow. If I get around to growing them, we'll see. So I finished off by giving all those tomatoes a nice water. Again, looking back, I would not be watering it straight onto the actual plant. This was a terrible idea. Definitely should just be watering at the base of the plant. In fact, the best way to water plants is actually from the bottom up rather than the top of the soil. So preferably these would be sat in maybe like a big tray and then just pouring some water into the bottom of the tray so that they can soak all that water up through the soil rather than what I'm doing here, which is not the best method, would not recommend, but yeah, just gave everything a good water. It has been sunny those last few days, so everything's looking a little bit dry. This strawberry tower is really good. Like, I really like the look of the design. Not the easiest for watering at all. And the other thing is you have to rotate it every other day ideally, preferably every day, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. Because obviously the ones in the back don't get any sun, so you know, you've got to just keep it moving. But I'm hoping as the strawberries get bigger, they'll sort of expand and dangle over the edge rather than at the moment they're just sort of sat in there, which does make it even more tricky to water them. And also the soil dries out really quickly in these. I don't know if it's because they're not very deep. I don't really know, but I'm not sure if I'll continue using these or if I'll eventually move the strawberries out. Like I said, I really do like the design of it, but watering it is a bit of a nightmare. And again with the lettuces, I probably wouldn't be watering the leaves if there was more space as well. It's basically impossible to get any water into the soil because of how closely packed those things are. Definitely not ideal placement. And then just to finish off, I've refilled the watering globes. These were actually in with the cucumbers, but obviously the cucumbers don't need these anymore, so I thought I'd donate them to my raspberries. I do actually have quite a few more, which I do need to strategically place. And finally caught this weird little guy on my lettuces. Hope he hasn't done any damage. But also guys, thanks for watching. This is the end for this week, but lots more to come, and thank you again so much for all of your support, and see you in the next one.